Hi everyone. This is what happened to me when I got government housing, part 63. So on the 15th of the 5th, 2017, I went to my local Aldi and the respondent came up behind me and verbally abused me. I didn't know that he was in the store and I had to run away from him and hide behind the aisles to get away from him. I didn't call the police because I didn't think that they would attend. But because the respondent kept following me around the store and kept watching me until I went to the register, I took a photo of him to make sure I had a record of that incident. And I intended to use it as evidence in court, even if I didn't get any support from the police. In this photo, I was standing at the register and I had my phone out in case he approached me, which he was prohibited from doing because I had an order out against him. And he was watching me the whole time that I was checking out. And like I've said a few times before, I have no idea why he was so interested in me. And especially given that he got away with everything that he did to me, I can't explain why he maintained that level of anger towards me. Also, I went back to the community legal centre to speak to another lawyer, but this lawyer didn't understand what I was saying to her and assumed that my situation was a family violence situation, like a lot of people in the justice system did. So I gave up on her. Then I wanted to speak to a different lawyer, but I couldn't be bothered waiting all that time, so I just left. And it was another wasted night for me and so different to how these community law places portray themselves. And I think people should be aware that if they're not getting help that they want from a community law centre, it doesn't mean that they've done something wrong. It really is up to the lawyers at the centre to help people. And the truth is that they often don't do that. Regardless of how hopeless and unhelpful they were, I still needed to find a competent, understanding lawyer. So I did go back to the community legal centre again and I spoke to yet another lawyer. This time the lawyer passed the buck on to me and said that I should call the housing call centre for advice. And I thought this was unreasonable. I didn't trust the housing call centre because I had already explained that the respondent was friends with one of the staffers from there, and I had many other reasons for not wanting to go through them as well. Like, for example, the fact that someone in my situation should get legal advice before talking to them. So I was being pushed around and passed from one government department to another government funded legal centre and then back again. And it was hopeless. But stupidly, I just kept going. I wanted all my hard work to count for something. I wanted my daughter to see that standing up for yourself was right. And I refused to believe that all lawyers were lazy, self-serving assholes. And I kept going with the hope that I would find someone who would actually listen to me and understand what I was saying and take the time to read the evidence that I had spent my pension money on to print out. I was in a dangerous situation because I was being assaulted and because the police were so hostile towards me. And everything I wanted to do required legal advice, but I couldn't connect with someone who was able to help. I was burdened with the responsibility of protecting myself and my daughter, and I was burdened with all the administrative and legal responsibilities as well. When I reached out to professionals to help me, they would change the wording of what I had said to them, hand pass the problem back to me, and then wipe their hands of the situation, all while being paid well to speak to me. My situation was absurd, and now that I'm looking back at it, I don't know how I kept going. Then on the 19th of the 5th, 2017, I went to collect my daughter from her school, and I found that the respondent had parked his van opposite her school again, like he had done on the day of the court hearing a while ago. I had no idea why he did this, and like I've said in other videos, one thing that he often did was simply present himself to me, presumably with the knowledge that he was intimidating me or that I would have to run away from him. And it was so draining to have to do that all the time. Then on the 22nd of the 5th, 2017, I wanted to go to the tenants union to ask them for help with my case, but I couldn't because I was too tired, because the respondent had been using power tools in his unit all night and I couldn't sleep. After I got my daughter home from school, I could hear bashing on my front door, but I didn't answer it because I was too scared. Then on the 24th of the 5th, 2017, the police turned up to my home and bashed on my door like it was some sort of emergency until I answered the door. Then they handed me a personal safety order that the respondent had taken out on me. I don't know how the respondent convinced anyone that I was a danger to him, but he kept getting orders against me, so I had to keep going to court. Then at around 11:50 a.m., a gas meter reader came to my home, and when I let him in, I could see that the respondent was looking over the balcony and watching. The meter reader seemed scared, and he told me that the respondent had questioned him about why he was knocking on my door. After he read my meter, I let the guy out, and I could see the respondent was waiting in the car park, and I felt scared for this guy. But there was nothing that I could do, so I shut the gate, and I hoped that he was able to get out of the block safely.